Do you have a favourite club from old Rye-Slip days? Separates a scratch golfer from a tour pro? Take a step backwards. My favourite golf course, probably play there every day, just I've got a chance. Oh, and which are your 3 favourite drills? Is in the butt end of the club, I would say. Ooh. Continuity, think you'll ever get back into in-person coaching. Relationship, don't you, with a putter? I know that sounds a bit weird. My best memory from my amateur or pro career. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Warren Bennett. Trev's having a little mooch around there, and welcome, as you can see, to a beautiful morning here in the middle range at Chestfield. Now, as you can see, we've got a Q&A video here. It's something different, so I'm just going to hit some balls. I'm going to answer some questions which I put out on Patreon first. So I'm going to answer those, and then on my socials. So maybe a bit of everything this video, but mainly is obviously to answer some of your questions. So let's get going. So I'm just going to hit some different clubs. I'm going to start off with a wedge. Okay, let's start off with Patreon then, and Yolis was the first one to send some questions over. Do you have a favourite club and why? I don't just mean a 7-iron, but like the Titleist Vokey, etc, etc, or something you absolutely loved or wish you'd have in your bag again. I don't really have a club that's like an iron or a driver, but I suppose looking back I would think about my old putters. I think with putting, you kind of get a little relationship, don't you, with a putter? I know that sounds a bit weird. So my old blade putter I used to use on tour, I've still got it. If I've got a picture of it, I'll put it up now. It's an old Arnold Palmer blade. It's a copy of the old Wilson one. It's from Callaway. And yeah, so I love that putter. And I used kind of 2 putters when I was on tour. Odyssey 2-ball and this blade putter. Oh, and thinking of that, I've got an old Ping Pao that I first used from the mid-80s, I think. So yeah, I think a putter, Yolis, I would say. I don't wish I had it back in my bag, because the technology moves on and it gets a little bit better, doesn't it? Who's your golfing hero and the best player you've played with? But I suppose those 3 putters would be my most sentimental. So the Odyssey 2-ball, the Ping Pao from the mid-80s, and my old blade putter. Yolis has got another one. What's one golf myth or piece of advice you keep hearing that you wish would just disappear? So there's plenty of those, Yolis, I would say. But when I read the message, one statement that brings to mind is, I want to take my game to the next level. When I hear someone say that, alarm bells always ring. Because they feel like they're getting better or they've plateaued. So it's okay to want to improve. But for a lot of the time, a lot of golfers take a step backwards, and you don't need to. Yes, you can always improve, but improvement comes from consistency, continuity. So I understand why people say it, but it can lead to getting worse, and all of a sudden, a few months down the line, you realise, you know what, you're okay as you were. So I think it's a fine line between improving and always keeping the arc as much as we can going up, but you've got to be really careful in golf, and especially I've seen too many club golfers try too hard, practice in terms of lessons, so they have too many lessons, get too analytical, and they lose their feel, they lose their playing ability. So even a professional on tour can over-analyse things too much, can try too hard. So you've just got to have a little bit of everything, a little bit of practice, a little bit of drills, a little bit of short game. So yes, find your faults and try and improve those, no question about it. I don't mean just don't try and improve all the time, but there's always a right and a wrong way to do it. You don't want to kind of completely throw everything to the side and start again. It's a skill to learn how to kind of work at the correct things. So you can get better whilst you're still playing, so you're not kind of throwing the hand grenade into your golf game and starting all over again. So to answer your question, Yolis, really, is to find a plan. Everyone has a different plan, everyone's got different lifestyles, got more time to practice, less time to practice. So find what's right for you. If you want to become a professional golfer and you're off 5 or 9, you've got to put a plan into place that's different for someone who is off 16 and wants to play off 12. The fundamentals are the same. You still need to find what's right for you and work towards that, but in a way, and find a coach that can help you with that, but you don't want to be over coached, that's for sure, and find the quickest way to it. So driving and short game would be the one that would fast track you for that. Like I used to say with my little junior academy, bookend a golf hole, because you can be okay driving and okay around the greens, then you won't be far wrong. Okay, on to the next question. Right, Yolis, we'll come back to another question of yours, but we'll just skip to Les. Les, thanks for your question. Hi Warren, I know that a single figure handicap is about every aspect of one's game, and especially the short game, not just about the driver. But would you say there's a minimum driver swing speed for those wanting to get to single figures? Would help me to know how much faster I need to get, and I'm currently at only 90 mph. Thanks, Les. So, no question about it, swing speed generates, I think, maybe roughly about 2.5 yards per mile an hour of club head speed. No question about it, but I don't think there's an optimum, Les. I think depending on what course you're playing, obviously if you're playing a big old long course, it's going to be quite difficult to play off single figures if you can't get to the par 4s. No question about it, if you can get your club head speed up, it will make life easier, but that can be the detriment of your golf game. So I'd rather someone who is lower club head speed that can hit it straight. So I've played with many golfers at Chestfield here in my time that are pretty consistent and have a low club head speed. There are drills that you can do to improve. So in the off period, I would say yes, no question about it. Work on some club head speed, your mobility, extra turn, but like everything, I think it could be a byproduct. So if you work at some exercises, a little bit of mobility, stretching work, really getting some coil on the way through, you know, mobility of the hips and your shoulders and your torso, that can help automatically. Just some natural speed as well, I call it, that you've heard me say probably many times, Les, in the videos, getting some natural speed down there. I would say the least that you've got to do is maintain your speed and not lose it. So I've got a question off Joe now, so thanks Joe for your question. Which are your 3 favourite drills that you perform and practice? So one drill that springs to mind, Joe, is the feet together exercise. Great for the recreational golfer who mainly has an arm swing that's not educated because there's too much movement of the body. You can't have everything swinging, so if the body moves too much, the arms are neglected. I like it the other way around for the club golfer. Very rarely you see a club golfer swing their arms too much and they're not moving, especially if you're a senior golfer who's losing a little bit of your flexibility. So obviously with the feet being very, very narrow, club head width apart maximum, takes away the movement. So you have to stay pretty stationary, but there's a right and wrong way. You still can move, you still can twist, but you're twisting now around a very central axes here. You're not now moving and putting too much lateral in. Now your arms can take over because something's now got to create that speed and that swing. So nice and long on the way through. So you can see my club resting on the back of my neck there. But I'd say if you just stand there and try and swing your arms a little bit more efficiently, I would say that's my number 1 drill. Second drill is the hit and hold. Just did a video on it actually. If you can swing and stop here, foot nicely in the air, obviously this is more from the recreational side, and slicer is club and arms extended down the line, big kick in, still looking down. If you can get in that position, a majority of what goes on before that would have been sequenced correctly. If I told you to stop here, you're going to have to do something wrong with your body and path. So a lot of good can come from just stopping. here. For the more of the elite golfer and the one that hooks, like I said with the video, you can turn through a little bit more and hold off that angle. So the hit and hold is another beautiful one because it really kind of sorts out order and sequence, because what we're trying to do with this swing, Joe, is to really feel like you're sequencing up your legs, body, arms and hands. Then you're halfway there to achieving a bit more consistency of your swing. So third and final one, Joe, I would say it's not necessarily a drill per se, it's just a feeling, but I would say the hinge drill. Getting the hinge in your hands halfway back, getting this club looking like it's through your shoulder a little bit more. Too many club golfers are a bit draggy on the inside here. Then the first domino's in the wrong place. So feeling like the golfer has a little bit more hinge going up, obviously as well as coil. Then you're in this kind of wide backswing position. So wide being hands away from your body. You're still coiled, like I said, but your elbows away from your side here. That gives you a chance now to drop it in the slot. So a little kind of exercise, well, there's a few ways you can do that. You can do it with a preset exercise, so you've already created that 90 degrees at the start, so then you can swing from here. Or you can now check it and make it a little bit more real life, is stop halfway back. Secret to this, if you want to improve a little bit more hinging, is don't look. Always look down at that ball whilst you're making the movement. Stop, check. Okay, what does that look like in a mirror there? So you're my mirror, yep, through my shoulder. I'd rather you be this side of the fence, because now the club's got somewhere to go, than this side of the fence. So then you can hit balls from halfway back position, but remember, don't look. Nice and smooth, feel it in motion. You can check it if you like. Look back, continue, and hit. Just did a drill on it actually. A great one to set yourself up for success, Joe. There's many drills, as you've probably seen on the channel, that can help you, but I'd say, especially the first two, I'd say they're my 1 and 2 drills of all time. Third one, you can throw in loads of different ones there, but I would say setting yourself up for success so there's less compensations coming down. Thanks, Joe. Okay, next question. We got Paolo. Hi, Paolo. A couple of questions. Number one, do you swing the club head or the handle? Yes, technically, Paolo, I am swinging the club head, because this club head is obviously swinging around me, but I'd say I'm feeling it in my handle. So I'm feeling it not in my handle, I'm feeling it in my hands. So I would say the control behind the swing is in the butt end of the club, I would say, because whatever I'm doing, if I'm bringing it back to my original drill, my shallow, steep and shallow drill, I'm feeling that in the butt of my club. I'm not feeling it in my club head here. So the club head is just a reaction, I think, Paolo. If you're doing a feet together exercise like I just did with the Joe question, something like that would be a little bit more in the club head, but I'm still feeling the control in the handle, because for the feet together exercise, obviously there's a stationary handle here to allow the club head to pass more. Instead of, say, the steep and shallow where I'm like cutting the butt across it, so I'm holding on to it a little bit more. So there's probably a little bit more swing of the club head there. So I'd say there's a little bit more handle. I wouldn't say I'm swinging the handle, I'd just say I'm controlling the handle to then control the club head, whatever that's doing. Right, second question from Paolo. For your 10 ball drill, I think that was the tempo one, I think. Are you controlling the various speeds of this with your body or arms? So I'd say it's more arms, because for the majority of club golfers, to encourage tempo, I would say it's an arms pulling the body around, not the other way around. So yeah, I would say it's the speed control, I would say, would come in the arm swing to allow the arms to swing a little bit more. You're not looking for anything too jerky, especially the majority of people who suffer from the transition and they go at it too quickly. Normally they go at it with their body and their arms then have to stall and cut across. So I'd say encourage the arms to swing a little bit more passive, and then hopefully the body can respond on that one. I would say it comes more from the arms. Thanks, Paolo. Okay, so we're going to do another one from Yollis here. You can see I'm beside the chipping green here. He's got 4 more. So Yollis, what I'll do another Q&A in a few months' time, and I'll put the rest of your questions there, if that's okay. But I'll pick the couple of ones just randomly. What's an underrated part of the game that separates a scratch golfer from a tour pro? Oh, good question, really good question. Underrated part of the game. So there's a few areas, Yollis, I would say. Short game, it's like don't underestimate how a pro can get it in the hole quite consistently and how sharp they are around the greens. If they came round to play your home course, you'd notice how tidy they are around the greens. And what separates them, if they can play nicely, tee to green, they'll probably score well as well, because they're always quite consistent around the greens. You remember how much time they practice when they go to a tournament. They're always practicing their short game, always practicing their putting, really getting it as tight as possible. Long game stuff, obviously the distance and stuff like that, but an underrated part is starting line. A pro has quite a consistent starting line. Obviously I'm going to talk about tournament pros here. Okay, I think that's the last of the Patreon. If there isn't, I apologise. I'll make sure you're first in the queue or answer them on my next video. Okay, on to my socials. Stan Walsh. Hi Stan, how you doing? Love the Academy series. Appreciate that, Stan. Just wondering why you don't use a laser or GPS. I actually do and did. Well, I just haven't got one at the moment, and I've been given one actually recently by a friend here at Chestfield, so next time you see an Academy Versus video, you should see me use one. Considered night vision after the last one, I know at Remedy Oak, oh, that was ridiculous. So I definitely needed a night vision there. And do you think you'll ever get back into in-person coaching? You know what, I really miss it, Stan. Really miss that one-to-one. I love doing what I'm doing because I can hopefully help a few people with their golf, help obviously more than one-to-one, but I really miss that one-to-one because it's nothing like it. You can kind of react much quicker, and you can see it and you can feel it and you can sense it by the person's body language. So do I ever think I'll get back into it? Right now I would say, Stan, no. I don't have any facility to do any one-to-one coaching. I know I've been asked quite a lot. A bit skinny there. So no, I'm not sure. So in the future, I can never say never, that's for certain. But right now, I'm just sticking to the YouTube. So thanks, Stan. Okay, appreciate next question, Dom Smith. How you doing, Dom? Lovely to hear from you. Me and Dom go back a long way from old Ryeslip days. And then Dom moved to America. So how's it going, Dom? Lovely to hear from you, buddy. And yeah, hope all's well over there. Looks fantastic. And thanks for your questions. So first one from Dom. Who's your golfing hero and the best player you've played with? So my golfing heroes is a bit controversial at the moment, but Greg Norman was one, and Seve. So I both saw them at the Bob Hope Classic at Moore Park. I think I was only about 9, like 1980, something like that. Went over there and fatted it. Yeah, they were playing together. I just saw the white hair of Norman and Seve, and I guess it was Seve more than Norman. And what inspired me to be a professional was Seve winning the 84 Open at St Andrews. And yeah, so just loved watching Seve. Got to play with Norman once at the K Club in the third round, and wasn't that nice to play with. Even his caddy said he'd got out of bed the wrong way, and I didn't ever get to play with Seve. I went through him one time, so it was at Qatar. Oh, that's got a chance. So it was in Qatar. Yeah, he let us through. I don't think he had lost his ball actually. So I'd hit it down the fairway, and I hit my second shot, and Seve was standing like 5 yards away from him. Like, so even just that was, wow, nerve-wracking. I was lucky to have a lunch with him actually, and just had a chat with him, just kind of pleasantries really. It was lovely to spend that little bit of time with him anyway, and he said to me that I've got to swing like Ernie Els. So anyway, I'd like to have a record like Ernie Els anyway. But yeah, so they're my two heroes really. And best player I played with. So I played with Tiger, my last ever round as an amateur in the Eisenhower Trophy. I played with Tiger in the last round. Yeah, we were in the last group in the Eisenhower, so that was a nice little send-off. But I didn't know who, obviously knew who he was, aware of him, but he just won his first US amateur. So we didn't know he was going to go on to be that golfer. So at the time you don't really think of it, but looking back it was like, wow, I remember him hitting it a long way. But the best golfer in general, I always answer this question the same because I've been asked it before. Ooh, straight in. Ooh, is Monty. I played with Monty half a dozen times. I think the least he shot was 67, 500, something like that. Yeah, he made golf look so easy. He just stood there and just hit this baby fade down the middle every single time on the green. And his 67, 66s, 65s he shot looked like 75s. So it wasn't mega impressive off the tee. He didn't sound amazing. It just, the consistency of it was just, I'd never seen anything like it. Didn't practice hardly. Yeah, so I'd say he was the best I've played with in terms of consistency. Next one from Dom, my favourite golf course and my best memory from my amateur or pro career. Favourite golf course, that is a tricky one. Links courses are absolutely amazing. Turnberry, Muirfield, Royal St George's just down the road here. Where else? Oh, do I have an absolute favourite? St Andrews. St Andrews as a golf course is very quirky, but the history of it is undeniably amazing. So you stand there on that first tee. It's the only time I've really kind of struggled to get the ball on the tee, and that was the practice round. That was for the 95 Open. So was that the best golf course? Probably not. Muirfield I think is up there, but the best view, if you've seen the Academy Versus, was Gairloch, Ullapool, Try Golf Club. I think that takes some beating, that view from that first green on that day, or throughout the whole course, was absolutely amazing. But the golf course itself, so not views, best links course would be Turnberry, and I played it before Trump got his hands on it, which I think is even better now. And the inland course, I'd probably say Sunningdale, Dom. Sunningdale Old, I'd say is, I could play there. Oh, I could probably play there every day. And what was that other one? Just quick. Oh yeah, best memory from my amateur and pro career. I'd say amateur career, what springs to mind is silver medal, Australian amateur, because that came out the blue really. We were invited to play in the 100th Australian amateur, so I won the centenary amateur over there, which was lovely. And some of the team events, so the Middlesex, we won the county championships, that was amazing. Some of the home internationals for England and the Great Britain Island stuff. I love the team events. Completely different, isn't it, from individual where you're on your own, but I love the team format. And kind of really missed that team event. Plus Ryslip days, Dom. Remember we got to the 6-man final? I don't know if we won. Did we win? I can't remember. I know we got to the final at Enfield, remember that. So it's just things like that stick with you. Individual stuff, yeah, you can take it or leave it. The pro stuff, my wins, my Challenge Tour wins, the European Tour win, although it was coming from a bit of a rocky place psychologically then. And plus my first tour school. I got there 1994. I needed 3 birdies in the last 3 holes to make the cut. And back then, if you missed the cut, you were kind of limbo for a year. And if you made the cut, you got a Challenge Tour card. And I knew that. And I needed to birdie the last 3 because the scoreboard said this was the cut and I was 3 off it. So birdie 16, 17, came to the 18th, needed to hold this 15-foot putt. And I think that was my, not proudest, I think that was my most pressured putt in my career, because if I hold that, at least I've got somewhere to play. And it bounced me on then. From there I won on the Challenge Tour in 1995. So that was, without that putt, none of it would have, I wouldn't say none of it would have happened, but it would have been even harder. So I'd say those 3 birdies I made under the gun, that was my most pressurised moment. And yeah, I even look back now and go, well, how did I do that? So I'd say that, Dom, just a combination of everything, nothing really, and plus spin. And lastly, Dom, my time here at Chestfield, 2017, being the pro here for 7 years. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. Really proud of my time here. Made some friends for life. And yeah, so that's my accumulation really, Dom, of it really. And yeah, so I hope that answers your question okay. Oh, chance, don't kick left. Okay, thanks for your messages, Dom, and on to the next question. Okay, next one's from Dan Tramble. How you doing, Dan? kind of made friends with Dan over the last couple of years, and we Dan kind of texting quite a lot, showing swings back in the day, early doors. And Dan lives in Canada now, kind of works on the green staff there, and yeah, so Dan, hope you're keeping well, and great to hear about how well your golf's going as well. So yeah, really great news, and hope you keep it up, buddy. Dan said, pulling shorter irons into greens, find myself 20 to 40 feet left of pins, need to get an idea of what I'm doing wrong, leaving myself 3-putt territory too often. Yeah, so approach play. How I know your swing, Dan, it's not coming from over the top, so I would say check the path issues, but I know it's not path for you. So with that in mind, you have a tendency to cast a little bit in front of your hands, overtake a little bit too quickly, wouldn't you say? So having a little bit more shaft lean with an iron really helps. And that's difficult because I know you've been working on trying to get some hinge early, and if you've got hinge early, like I've said in some videos or one coming out, that now you've got something to maintain on the way down. If you're a little slow in that, then it's easy for this club to take over. So I'd say work on a little bit of shaft lean with your iron shots, especially your shorter iron shots. I'll just hit another little chip here. Ooh, greens are running nice. Go. Ooh. So a couple of things you can do, make sure your ball position's in the right place. Say that's for an 8 iron, don't want it too far forward with your habit. Get your hands a little forward at address. So now you've already got it. So if I just nudge them forward, if you can see my swing when I hit a shot, I've got that little kind of trigger by the hands going forward. So you might as well, not with a driver, but with your irons, you might as well start with your hands forward, because now you've already got it built in. So check that, that's always a really good one. Make sure your head is over the ball and not behind it, because if your head's behind it and you're going at speed, you can only kind of flick it too quickly and get the club past you. So I would say those two things, Dan. Make sure your head is over it. Remember, you can still coil, but hands ahead. But I'd say you being in this position, say with a wedge, 9, 8 iron, something like that, even the 7 iron, then completely over the top of the ball. From here, you're going to have to really kind of force it and kind of influence it during your swing, which is always harder. Ooh, a little steamy. Okay, Dan, appreciate your question and hope that helps. Okay, next person, JR 197694. Stop coming over the top. So I guess you're just meaning kind of how to stop coming over the top. Well, I'll put links in description about some videos to stop that, otherwise I could be here for a long time. Hope that's okay. Right, so a couple more I think. So Philippe, hi Philippe, how you doing? Lovely to hear from you again. Hi Warren, what are the advantages and disadvantages of choking down for chipping? Oh, and what do you advise? Thanks. Oh, that's good timing. So beside the chipping green here, the advantages is just control, and you can get lower. So you can see here, if I grip right down to the sticker there, I have to be really over the top of the ball. And if you're over the top of the ball, you've got some nice spine angle, and I like that for chipping. What you don't want to do in chipping is be really upright. So your hands and arms are a little bit too independent. Remember, in a chipping action, you kind of want everything to swing together. You don't want any independence of your hands and arms at all. So gripping down really helps that. It's just a control thing, Philippe, really. So I like to grip down to like the Golf Pride there, just for a shot like this. Don't want to grip right up the top, makes it too long, so it encourages the club to kind of flick and encourages your wrist to move too much. So grip down, and you're trying to keep everything the same. It's just easier to keep everything more one piece then. Yes, there's a bit of wrist movement, Philippe, but that comes from just nice lightish grip. So you're not trying to produce any wrist angle, you're just doing it through a nice soft grip. Make the club head go heavy, grip down, keep everything the same. And there's a little bit of a pendulum motion, albeit that was a bit too steamy. So yeah, that's the advantage of gripping down. Even for a chip shot, you don't want to use the full length of it. You want to really control that club head. It's the only time you really want to try and take the pace off this club head. You don't want anything going too quick here, because if it's going too quick, you're using your wrist too much. I like being over the ball a little bit more, and that encourages this club to go up a little bit more. If I was dead straight up here, it's going to encourage the club to swing round, you see. One more, see if I can get it a bit closer this time. Not ideal, a little bit rusty. Okay, Philly, thanks very much. Hope that helps. So we've got, I think this is the last one, I'm not sure, I'll have to check. Camel 914268. He's saying really struggling playing uphill 60 to 80 yard pitch shots when lead side foot, so obviously boom, if he's right-handed, is quite a bit higher than the trail side. Often chunk them. Even when I change ball positions, I still chunk. So I'm guessing he's probably putting the ball back a little bit just to hit the ball first. Sometimes think maybe using a longer club will allow me a shorter swing to keep control of contact. No question about it. So what I do, I don't go with the slope that you would do, say, for a hybrid, something like that. I always go into it and you stay there. Any sort of rocking back, the ground's going to get in the way. So it's really important to kind of make sure you stay over the ball. It's difficult because the slope is pulling you away from that. So if you're up here, it's really kind of pulling you back here too much. So if you've got any sort of sway back or head back. So what I tend to do, what you just said at the end actually, is to take a little bit of pace off. I don't hit it full out. So I take one more club. You want to stay there, kind of, I would say 50-50, normal chip shot, and really feel like you're twisting through a little hand and arm shot. You don't want to stay back like you would do a full shot. So to change your low point, you really want to try and get twisted like that. So take one more club. I always take like a 52, not even a 56, and really feel like you're twisting through the ball and go into the slope a little bit more. You don't want to be sitting behind it for a long shot, like I said at the start. So just really feel, probably easier to demonstrate it, which I'll probably do for a troubled lie shots, that's for certain. But yeah, it's difficult, the old uphill lie, but when you think about it, you're fatting it because you're probably behind the ball. You said you've changed your ball position, probably moved it back, but moving it back can sometimes make you rock back even more and then turn through. So keep there in the backswing, you're not moving your head back at all, and then you're really twisting through. For any pitching, you really want to get your centre kind of moving before you hit the ball. Any sort of stationary, you can easily fat the ball, that's for certain. Not easy because I don't know your fault, but generally that's how I would play it. I hope that helps anyway. There may be a few questions I've missed out, I'm not sure, because there was a few questions posted around on someone's comments. I'm not sure, I think I have, but if I haven't, I'll make sure I post them into the next Q&A, or if there's a video I'm doing next, I'll make sure I answer it during that video, that's for certain. So I hope you've had a good weekend. Thanks very much for watching. And from myself, Trev, we'll see you next time. Stay healthy on and off the golf course, and we'll see you then. Cheerio!